I'm just island boy. I'm just island boy. I'ma get cute white boy. You gonna get that done. I'm just island boy. I'm just island boy. I'ma get cute white boy. You gonna get that done. I'm just island boy. I'm just island boy. I'ma get cute white boy. You gonna get that done. I'm just island boy. I'm just island boy. I'ma get cute white boy. You gonna get that done. I'm just island boy. I'm just island boy. I'ma get cute white boy.
And it looks like we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of the Mining Market Signal. My name is Seth, and you're watching the Mind Your Biz channel on YouTube. And then after we publish, of course, on Odyssey.com. Definitely check out the links in the description of this video so you can be subscribed everywhere that we publish and every place that the Mining Market Signal and yours truly, Mr. Mind Your Biz himself, everywhere that we have engagements, right? So we do occasionally host others. We do occasionally do public events. I am technically a voice moderator in the Our Cryptocurrency Discord channel, which is kind of nice. It's been a while since we've been able to do a live event there, but let me know in the comments, would you like me to do something in collaboration with the Our Cryptocurrency Discord stage? I would love to do that, and I have spoken to one of the moderators there about doing that in the future. Might not be for this channel, but it might be for them. Still happy to do it because they've been so kind to me. If you recall, a couple years ago, they had both me and Krista Rose as weekly contributors to the Our Cryptocurrency YouTube channel as well. So let me know if that's of interest to you. I'm always happy to give back to the community in any way that I can. And remember that your comments are live. This is a live show, and I am going to put your comments on screen, but I do have heavy filters. So if you try to add links or if you try to say anything mean or even kind of somewhat maybe not family appropriate, I'm going to have to manually approve those comments. So just be aware, right? We're trying to be the mentors we wish we had, which includes not being a jerk to new people. All right. So let's try to, if you have a question, just ask it. And if you have an answer, just answer it, right? We don't need to give each other too much of a hard time. That's kind of my job, right? I'm the entertainment. Let's be real. Let's be real, right? Like this is not the technical analysis head. This is not the on-chain analysis guy. I'm not giving you like whatever scripts and tools to crawl all the blockchains, but we are going to take a very, very heady look at the markets. Let's start things off with a quote from the one and only Magic Poop Cannon. If you're not familiar with who Magic Poop Cannon is, well, I suggest you look up Magic Poop Cannon. It's pretty darn cool what Magic Poop Cannon has been able to do in a relatively short amount of time with their trading charts. So if you don't know who this person is, they publish on TradingView very, very frequently. One of the highest followed accounts on TradingView. When I first saw this account, I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah, it tracks. This is crypto. I'm definitely in the right place. My kind of people. At any rate, guys, your comments are coming in. Definitely keep it PG-13-ish, right? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe Canada. Canada's got a really great, like, PG-14 rating. It's kind of slightly, like, a year older. So, I mean, let's roll with that. But Magic Poop Cannon says, inflation is like the black swan or golden goose that could make this bull market very different from the others. If the Fed cannot control inflation here, all markets are likely to explode as investors seek safety in assets. Hey, what's not to love about a quote like that? And I think that this person is right. Him, her, them, they. For all we know, Magic Poop Cannon is literally Satoshi. The world may never know. But I think that's really great wisdom there. We can pay attention to the signs of the times, and we don't have to get wrecked by government institutions trying to enforce their will on markets. We can flee to harder assets, right? If you are not already into those sorts of things, like there are plenty of channels that talk about, macroeconomics and macro investing. We primarily look at cryptocurrencies here, right, and blockchains. So thanks for being here, guys. And again, thank you for hitting that thumbs up and sharing the link while we're live. Sharing is caring. Hey, we got some resident homies in the chat. Say hello to Pocket Change, or Mrs. Chump Change, however you want to call it. I don't think that she'd be offended by that. It's kind of an old school way of saying that two people are married, but whatever, let's roll with it. So wife of a miner, Pocket Change herself. We got Gordon Murray in the chat, Barry, as well as Zotrak, Brandon as well. And he says, happy 5th, comrade. Yes. Lest we forget, it is the 5th of November. Remember. Why? The barrel and gunpowder plot. I can think of no reason the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. Mark your calendar. It's a big day for us. Not even necessarily because here in the United States, we have the Guy Fawkes Day to remember. And it's also not that in the UK, Guy Fawkes is remembered particularly fondly, but it is a holiday for a reason. We do remember this person for a reason. Anyway, we have this guy in the collective memory of cryptocurrency and blockchain for a reason. So yeah, thank you for that. Appreciate that chat incoming. Guys, remember also that you do not need to offer a super chat. You do not need to pay to have your comments viewed. As you can see, they're on screen right now. So if you got something on your mind, let it out. Here's our chart for Bitcoin, though. And we can see that our chopsticks that we placed on the most recent time frame of last roughly, week or so, we saw something that looked like it was an ascending triangle. It looks like it's kind of tapering off, really more than anything else. But we do see a little like upside down hatchet right there, a little tomahawk, kind of signaling a reversal this morning when I took a look at this chart. That was a red candle. And so it was down, now moving up. We're only in the 2-hour time frame. And I don't, you hear me say it a lot. I'm not a technician in this space. I'm not a technical analyst. I don't pretend to know these things super well, but I have read that a little hatchet, right? A tiny little candlestick a tiny little candle with a longer candlestick and a little something that looks like a little axe head, right, on one side or the other, a little hatchet or tomahawk head, that is often a sign of a reversal in a shorter time frame, depending on what you're looking at. I tend to believe that we're kind of performing roughly within those bounds of that ascending triangle. Bitcoin does not seem to want to go below $61,000. I think this is probably an overall good sign of Bitcoin's health and the market's health, and maybe a good sign that this bull run is not over. We knew that, right? It was painfully obvious that the bull run was not over as we zoom out, right? Especially people who said it was over here, right? People who said things like, at this point, like, okay, that's it. The market's going to implode. Bitcoin's going to zero. Definitely no more bull market left. Down here, excellent DCA range. I was very happy with my DCAs in this range. And even in this range, I had no problem with DCAs. I will admit that for my personal strategy, without offering anybody in the audience advice, for my own personal strategy, I chose to cut my DCA in the current range. Why would I do that? That's just because for me, I want to keep that dry powder for other things that I'm working on. And I personally anticipate that we will see the bottom of the next bear market somewhere close, or the support level of the next bear market, somewhere close to the level at which I DCA'd. So, man, we're way too comfortable making up verbs, aren't we, in English? We're way too comfortable just making things up as we go. I truly feel sorry for the international community that has to watch stuff like this and decode A, what we're saying, and then B, the speed at which guys like I say it. Like, oof, sorry, international friends. Sorry, friends from across the pond. But the point is, I stopped my DCA while we started to go into this current range. Why? I didn't want to have to deal with retracements or retests of bottom support. And then, yeah, I wanted to know that the good money that I threw into Bitcoin wasn't being thrown after bad once we got back into a bear market and we saw lower level support. We don't invest for today. We don't invest for tomorrow, right? We invest for our children, and we try to get the best possible deal we can to make every penny squeal. That's the situation that I'm in. Yours may be different, so that's why it can't be legal, financial, or business advice or investing advice for you. Your situation is unique. So, put on your big boy, and apparently there's one woman in the audience, one girl. Put on your big girl pants also, and yeah, definitely, please don't take Chump Change's pants. That would be very, very weird. Why did I even go there? Okay, we're going to nuke it from space, guys. Intro all over again. Welcome back to the mining market signal. Let's jump back into the charts. This is Bitcoin in that tiny little ascending triangle. I think that our chopsticks are okay. I think they're okay. We might be able to correct those just a little bit over time. But yeah, I need my Call of Duty says she would have to give them back to him. Haha. I don't know. It depends on how many pairs of pants they have in that household, right? Like they might have like 2 pairs of pants. They could be like rich folk. Don't make it weird. So let's look at our fear and greed index. Looks like we currently have a score of 73. And as a reminder, this updates at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time every day. So this is technically the score from last night. I have no problem talking about this score from the last 24 hours. It's still accurate, right? It's going to be the current sentiment score until it resets tonight. Yes, there are going to be some outlier coins and projects. Yes, there's going to be some outlier sentiment that maybe needs to be taken into account after tonight. We'll deal with that on the weekend. Guys, definitely, if you are not subscribed to some of the other crypto mining content channels that have live streams on Saturdays, you definitely should be. Some significant, meaningful shout outs would be to the DCA Adventure team, as well as to Serpent X Tech and to Red Panda Mining. If you're into crypto mining at all, GPU mining at all, you're very likely already following Red Panda Mining. You might not be following Serpent X Tech. I really think you should. Vega is a phenomenal content creator. He's actually a phenomenal IT pro, and he shares a lot of insight. Just a really solid all-around guy. If you did follow Savage Mine before he passed, you may or may not be aware that Vega, or from Serpent X, was instrumental in creating the Hash for Savage, not only hashtag, but movement, where we created a massive community movement for support there. So solid people doing solid work. Just beware of that. And obviously we have in the chat, Wife of a Miner, Pocket Change, and Chump Change. They've got a phenomenal channel too. But yeah, their Hump Day hashing is a great live stream. So just be aware, we got weekend live streams coming up. So sentiment will change before you tune into those. But Fear and Greed Index at 73. What does that mean? You know, I mentioned that we might see some kind of event to see us pop out of this range. Apparently not. Might go a little bit longer, crawling sideways in this sentiment range. There's not a whole lot that has changed by way of outward indicators, right? Or any kind of legislation that would force us out of this range. I mean, I guess what I'm saying, bottom line is, Elon Musk hasn't tweeted anything dumb yet this week. I don't know. Give him another week. The month isn't over, right? We're just barely starting November. He's got plenty of time, right? Plenty of time for Elon Musk to say something weird about Shiba Inu or like Doge or something. Speaking of which, you may have clicked on this video after the fact, after we went live, wondering, hey, what's the deal with all this clickbait? Why are you talking about Shiba Inu all of a sudden? First off, let me be very, very clear. I watched the debate I watched BitBoy's appearance, Ben Armstrong's appearance on Anthony Pompliano's show with his two brothers. They were wholly unprepared to have BitBoy show up on their show. I just need to say that. They were not prepared in any meaningful way for BitBoy to show up and defend himself publicly when they said that he was like a completely soulless shill. Let me say for the record, when I go on BitBoy's Around the Blockchain show, we have differences of opinion. And, you know, I'm a small channel. He's got a huge multi-channel outlet, right? Media company that he runs. But he's always very respectful of our differences of opinions. I've got nothing but respect for the guy. Even though we have differing opinions, he never treats me poorly because of it or because I have a smaller channel. So I didn't really understand why the Switchblades came out over there. If for whatever reason the Pomplianos see this particular snippet, like I've got mad respect for the Pomplianos too. You guys are building a family empire, which is huge, right? Taking care of family is a lost American value, unfortunately. Taking care of your siblings and taking care of your family by helping them achieve sort of a come up, right? Get a foothold in a market that maybe they don't just yet. But you guys were not prepared to have BitBoy come on. And when you said that you would, air quotes, keep the receipts, bring the receipts, you were not prepared for him to hold up a mirror to where you use clickbait too. What am I saying? I'm talking about Shiba Inu, Polkadot, Solana, and other projects because that is what's hot in today's market. We have to pay attention to this stuff, guys, especially as GPU miners or as crypto miners. If we don't pay attention to what's happening in the markets, well, we get taken unawares by changes in these trends. And then the holdings from what we mined suddenly overnight even can be reduced down to very little, right? They can be chopped down by 80, 90%. It's just really not a good look for us to be blind to what's happening in the markets. And I get it. A lot of us are of that mindset where it's like, hey, bro, I got my day job and, you know, I got the kids and I've got a real life, you know, outside of just this stuff. I can't just sit around for, 6 hours a day reading the news so I can publish my newsletter, my paid newsletter or whatever, right? My paid signal group or whatever else. I get it. A lot of us are like dealing with real life stuff and we don't have that many hours in the day. My point is, though, that's what this show is for, is so we can get that overview to pay attention to all of the various other sources that affect us as miners and not just get, carried away by Raven coin hype. I'm just going to say it, guys. Raven coin hype. And I'm going to give you receipts. I'm going to give you facts on Raven coin. And we don't just get carried away by early Chia hype. I realize that it's pumping right now, and that's cool. And I'm happy for you if you have a bag that is back in the black. But I promise you, for many of you, it was in the red for a while. And many of you have basically confessed that that's the case. Anybody who's wearing rose-colored glasses, right, or worse, beer goggles in this market, you're gonna get effing wrecked. Just zoom out with me and let's take a look at the markets from a bird's eye view, right? Let's try to look at it with that macro view. All right, anyway, guys, whatever, sermon over, right? But you know what? I'm not even going to apologize for it anymore. I'm going to lean into that moniker, right? Uncle Seth is here to talk to you, kid. Like, really. And I mean that legitimately. My actual real world nephews do occasionally watch this show. So Uncle Seth is here to, talk some sense into you. I mean, if the shoe fits, right? But if you're offended by that, I mean, I don't know. Stay mad. Anyway, but don't go anywhere because I'm not done yet. We're here with the Crypto Free Ingredient Index crawling sideways, though, guys. I think that we need to pay attention to what's happening in the markets and what is primed to pop, right? We can get ready for things that are primed to pop, such as what? Well, there are some reports of a potential Cardano breakout, right? Oh, it's beautiful artwork. First off, need to give credit where it's due. And as always, every single one of the links that I am showing you on screen is available in the description for you to easily click through at your own leisure and read word for word. This is not a show where I pretend to be an expert that holds something over your head. That is not the case. I'm here strictly to empower you, and I guess occasionally to entertain, if the shoe fits. But yeah, so you can read this up too. That's all I'm saying. And I trust you. I'll never insult your intelligence by pretending like you can't read these same sources. Occasionally, I will point to some inconvenient truths that I think the sources tell us. So 400% Cardano surge likely. I'm not sure about this, but this is on the dailyhodl.com. Beautiful artwork here. We've got, let's see, it's not actually reversed, but I've got also courtesy of Dark Reader, I've got dark mode applied to all of our sources today. Yes, you're welcome. Not going to blind you guys there. Saying hello to some of our new entrants in the chat. New Crypto says, LOL. Yeah, New Crypto, I know who you are. Don't LOL me, nephew. Yeah, oh my gosh. Ooh. I'm getting a little fired up, right? Like, whatever. Anyway. Barry Merritt is in the chat, says, I'm GPU mining Ravencoin for the long term. That's brilliant. And I think Barry's got the right idea there, for sure. Great network to support, for sure. That one guy Oz is in the chat. That one guy Oz, did you change user handles? Are you Ozzy Bogan? I get that sense that maybe you are. The Deadwood is here as well, guys. Thanks for being here this morning. And Nicolas Borba, hey, como vai? Good to see you in the chat. Obrigado. It's always great to see our friends from Brazil here. Guys, I'm gonna also say for the record, we need to do international outreach. Those of us who have international friends, invite them not only to this live stream, but because I think we're doing meaningful things, but also invite them into the space, right? Do what you can to see if the door is open to that conversation about cryptocurrency. We've got precious little time left in this market. I know it seems like the gravy train is just going to keep on running. I promise you it won't. And it will happen as suddenly as it came, right? It'll leave as suddenly as it came. So we need to be paying attention to who we can reach out to, that's in that circle, right? That inner circle, friends, family, etc. But internationally, we can help people who aren't dealing with US dollars or euro. We can help them to change their lives if they're very thoughtful about what they do and then come up with a strategy that works for them. So let's reach out everywhere we can. But Capo says, let's see, he's just a pseudonymous trader on crypto Twitter. Says that he believes that Cardano will hit $10 before the cycle ends. Represents a rise of about 400% from current levels. He also says that Polkadot looks like a better trade. And he actually says that he's out of Cardano and he's into Polkadot. Now, I think that there's some valid reasons for making that assessment. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of the fundamentals of Cardano, but there's no denying that people who bought Cardano at 10 cents are extremely happy with that trade today, while it's trading for over $2, right? And that's where it may pain us, right? As GPU miners and as crypto miners, we have that kind of conviction that comes from contributing directly to the fundamentals of these projects, right? We contribute to the security of proof of work blockchains. So it requires conviction. It requires putting skin in the game. We have to actually spend our own hard-earned money on equipment and then on power, right, to be able to contribute to these projects. So I get that there's conviction there, and it can feel like, oh, well, you know, all these other proof of stake projects, you know, they're an insult, right? On the face of it, they're an insult to what it is that I'm doing as a miner. Guys, I'm begging you to reconsider, because we have huge opportunities ahead. And you know, I've got to admit that with Cardano, yeah, the smart contracts are not ready yet. And I don't know what their time frame is for them to ever be ready. But I'm not here to just pick winners. I have to pay attention to some of the historical context as well. And it proves to me that Cardano made some people filthy rich. It did. And same with other coins that, while the fundamentals aren't there, some other coins have done so incredibly well that it's hard to argue with people's results. And it's difficult now after the fact to tell them, like, yep, that was a terrible bet, and that was and you're an idiot for doing it, and I don't trust you, and your opinion is bad. Let people have their wins, is what I'm saying, right? Let people have their gains, let people enjoy their moment in the sun. But I'm still going to try to urge caution where I think it's warranted. And so when I see somebody saying, hey, I sold my Cardano for Polkadot, I think that's a great trade, right? There's a testnet on Polkadot called Kusama that's actually working today. Cardano, I'm not seeing anything by way of DeFi, meaningful anyway, or NFTs. I'm not seeing much that's meaningful running on Cardano. But currently, again, at a price of over $2, people who are buying it for pennies, they are very, very happy. And the market cap is quite liquid as well, so pretty darn good. This person thinks that Polkadot is going to outperform most other major coins and says that he believes, or she believes, that the main targets are $250 and $650. Those are two major targets for resistance. And so people who are interested in that coin may see it go up way higher. Raven Boy Crypto is in the chat as well and says, howdy. Awesome. Good to see you here, guys. Really appreciate that. And Barry says, crypto mining is a tax strategy for asset acquisition. No, I totally appreciate that. I totally do. Guys, you've heard me maybe in years past talk about it in business terms of CapEx and OpEx, and then being able to achieve those write-offs and use the traditional system to your benefit, right? Of incorporation and corporate taxes and various other strategies for asset acquisition, like you're saying, as well as asset amortization over time, being able to use the traditional fiat system to your advantage, right? That's a game that I wouldn't say is rigged, but it is a game that if you understand how to play it, you can live a better life. I think that's probably fair. That said, cryptocurrency and digital assets, they represent so many more multiples in terms of the gains that can be achieved in a shorter time frame. And I realize that that's dangerous, right? You bring that to its logical extreme. And it's like, how can I make a lot of money really, really fast? Well, obviously go sell drugs, right? Like, or like go find something that's dangerous and, and talk to your neighbor and say, like, I really like your things. Will you give them to me? Sweet. I got a bunch of stuff in a really short period of time. Like, morality comes into it. Same ethics, right? They come into it before too long. You gotta like take a step back and decide, like, where's the line for me? And is this worth going to prison over? Like, no, probably not. So I get it. I don't mean to sound like crass when I say that these other cryptocurrency markets offer bigger multiples in shorter time frames, but they do, right? They do, without being illegal, right? Without being amoral or unethical. They do. They offer far higher multiples. We've seen some of these coins do 100x in this market, and it seems unbelievable. But we're seeing young people change their lives. People who are college age, who are realizing, you know what, some of the things that I was taught are not exactly what they seem. And, maybe I'm not dropping out of school, but I'm also not counting on this degree to be the thing that earns me retirement level income in my lifetime, right? And certainly they're not depending on Social Security being around by the time they're old enough for it to matter. So, yeah, man, I without feeling like a little bit down, even talking about it, I get why young people would be disillusioned with the old systems and be looking for new things and be interested in really high returns. I get it. I really think I do. So Cardano doing really well, but this person says that the DOT BTC pair is mega bullish. The Cardano BTC pair is very bullish. And then the ETH BTC pair is bullish, right? So if you want to stay really, really safe, the ETH BTC pair is now an old mainstay on every centralized exchange and even on decentralized exchanges. Guys, we've been talking about using DEXs and decentralized finance, DEXs like Uniswap, or if you take your payouts natively on Polygon, then on tools like QuickSwap, like I do, or 1inch DEX, like I do, or Matcha.xyz, like I do. I like using these decentralized exchanges on Polygon because the fees are way lower. But the ETH BTC pair exists there in the form of wrapped ETH versus wrapped BTC. We can put in limit orders on some of these DEXs as well. So the traditional, sort of traditional finance tools that we would look at are available to us anonymously, permissionlessly, decentrally. It's what a time to be alive. That's all I'm going to say. I genuinely wish that I was 20 years younger and already ahead here in this market. So anyway, yeah, wishing ain't happen. I know. Stop. So anyway, looking at that particular analysis, I don't think that's too far off. But here is something from Crypto Potato from the author Duo9 from this morning, talking about the weekly ROI on various different projects. And this was kind of the basis for today's show. I'm going to do a little bit more exploration of these coins so we see more of what I think is validation of what I'm saying here. Right? I can't just say like, oh my gosh, it's all gem hunter content all the time. No, we got to look at some stuff that's a little more fundamental. And I think with the current market being what it is, these are all top 25 projects, right? These are all, we would consider these fundamentals at this point, which is weird, but here we are in 2021 looking at this lineup as fundamentals. Shiba Inu down 24% over the last week. It has not done too well. And I've mentioned on the show that I thought that if we even got all the way up to like flipping that 0 to a 1, that would be a phenomenal target. But in my opinion, if I were holding Shiba Inu at that time, I would have already been finding ways to take profit. That one wallet that we took a look at, which I get it, that's not strictly speaking on-chain analysis. I didn't use a custom script to be able to crawl the network and specifically target various different addresses using code, right? I didn't do that, which is what traditionally we would consider on-chain analysis, right? I had people actually like go out of their way to try to take pot shots on Twitter and apparently on Clubhouse as well. People totally stole my content wholesale. All my talking points from the last live stream. They just like ripped it off and ran to Twitter with it. Funny anyway, but I'm flattered. But here's the thing: we can look at block explorers. It's public info, and that's still not in the strictest term like technical or on-chain analysis, the professional pursuit, but it is still technically looking at on-chain data instead of just looking at somebody else's charts, right? If you just look at somebody else's charts, it's like, oh, that's cool. Bar chart. Where'd you get the data from? Like, what does this mean? So I think that looking at other people's wallets as well is an important strategy. But we're going to take this at face value and just say that over the last week, Shiba Inu did drop. And I do think that when I went live last and talked about Shiba Inu almost, exclusively, that it was the right time to there were already signals that it was going down, right? There were signals of poor health for Shiba Inu as a coin. And I wouldn't blame that person who had $8,000 in and then $5 billion out. I would still not blame them for taking some profit, right? For exiting with some profit. Somebody in the comments mentioned that, well, maybe they already have life-changing money. Cool story, bro. Maybe they do. That's entirely possible. Why not take more profits? I mean, if there's, or, borrow against them, right? Or put it into some sort of liquidity pool so they can take profits some other way, which may be what they're doing right now with those wallets, for all we know. Because we didn't do any deeper analysis. Like, we didn't do genuine on-chain analysis to see if there are any other smart contracts that have been enabled with those wallets. It could be that they're lining up liquidity provision that they don't intend to sell at all, but there are other ways, right? Apparently, the wealthy in this country and throughout the world don't sell. They borrow against assets that are appreciating faster than the interest rate of their loans, right? Like, it's a cool strategy, right? Can you imagine? What if that were available for, all kinds of assets that you owned? If you have like an old, I don't know, a rare Bitcoin wooden nickel, and you had people who were willing to give you real Bitcoin in exchange for your Bitcoin wooden nickel, wouldn't you go ahead and just take that loan of the Bitcoin against your Bitcoin wooden nickel? Obviously, 9 times out of 10, people in this chat would. And then there'll be that one person who's like, well, actually, Uncle Seth, I'm a contrarian and you're old and you're dumb and I hate you and your face is ugly. So to that one person, I say, listen, nephew, like, chill. Or niece, double chill. Like, you're going to go get wrecked. But yeah, apparently the wealthy, they just borrow against assets that are appreciating fast, right? This is not strange. So, man, I'm all over the place here. I'm trying to rein this in a little bit, but you guys are picking up what I'm throwing down here, right? That it almost doesn't matter. As long as they're getting enough yield out of their liquidity provision to outpace this, great. But I don't think they are. I don't think anything is getting 24% in a week right now against Shiba Inu. I don't know if any liquidity provider pools or yield farms are offering quite that level of output or yield. But Ethereum is the middle of the road. Ethereum is not that bad, but Ethereum is the middle of the road. Solana and Polkadot they're kind of the new hotness. And they talk about the weekly ROI over this last week, and it's just kind of like, at least over the last 7 days, it's pretty obvious that people who are in these projects are doing better. Those of us who are crypto miners, right? We're looking at this and thinking, well, I just set my rigs to Ethereum and I forget about it. That's what this show is designed to help us prevent, right? If you look at other projects and you think, okay, well, I've been mining Ethereum or I've been mining this other GPU mineable coin, or I've got an ASIC set over here. Well, there's nobody saying that we have to keep our coins native in that particular coin, right? We can absolutely trade for other coins, and we can do so permissionlessly on DEXs. On that note, let's take a look at new DEXs. StackSwap. What is StackSwap? Well, clearly it is a brand new DeFi project, a DEX that's built on the Bitcoin network. What? Yeah, it's built on the Bitcoin network. Don't make it weird. So, yeah, Stacks protocol is a DeFi smart contract layer that runs on top of Bitcoin. When you saw my review of Miami Coin, that's based on a project called City Coins, and it uses Stacks, this smart contract top layer that runs on Bitcoin and settles on the Bitcoin network. So Bitcoin network is very, very robust in terms of its security. We know this, right? There's nothing that has higher hash rate or throughput in terms of total transaction value than Bitcoin. It really does take the cake as far as that goes. As far as microtransactions, it struggles, right? As far as paying the network fees for smaller transactions, you wouldn't go buy something that's worth 25 cents on Bitcoin because you'd pay more in your fees than you would on the item, right? So for microtransactions, there is a need for a second layer. But the same is true of smart contracts. But building smart contracts natively to Bitcoin layer 1 is kind of a problem right now. Barry Merritt brings some truth to the comment section, says smaller fees on Bitcoin. Yeah, there are right now. There absolutely are right now. And kudos to the core developer team on Bitcoin. Some of the most intelligent people I've ever spoken to are some of the current contributors to the Bitcoin core code and to the protocol. Just phenomenal group of people, very, very selfless. Many of them working as just sort of like side contributors. And they know who they are. We've had conversations on Clubhouse and elsewhere, but all I mean to say is they would admit too that smart contracts are not Bitcoin's forte, not today. So this is a huge development in that space. StackSwap raised $1.3 million in an early round. I don't know if this is a seed round. I don't know if it is definitely not their Series A, but the point is they're signaling intent to go build something. And this is enough to get something built. There are many decentralized exchanges and protocols that were built with zero initial funding. Uniswap comes to mind, Thorchain as well. They did not, as far as I'm aware, not initially take investor money, investor capital before starting to build. And now the majority of their funding comes from fees gathered on the platform. So it's not uncommon for a decentralized exchange to start very, very small and then build up after that. So for them to raise $1.3 million, it's not nothing. But I will say that against some of their competitors in terms of the fees and the amount that they have in their treasury right now to spend on construction of the DEX, it's not enough. I don't think it'll be enough to finally get them over the finishing line. Guys, chat is absolutely out of control, and I thank you. We welcome this, and we reward it. hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and share this video while we're live, guys. Love seeing the chat blow up. You guys are the best. So after raising $1.3 million in a private round, StackSwap is gearing up to launch the first fully decentralized exchange on the Bitcoin network, powered by the Stacks POX mechanism. The DEX will operate via direct Bitcoin transactions on every block. I don't know if I agree with this process, right? I don't know that I'd want to use a DEX that requires a 10+ minute wait or a 60-minute wait in order to get locked in confirmations of transactions. That would be painful. That would really, really be painful. And there's huge counterparty risk when you're trading or doing high frequency trades on a DEX with such long settlement times relative to decentralized finance, right? To DeFi, this goes way outside of the expected behavior of these platforms. If you've been using Uniswap for a while, if you've been using, like I mentioned before, QuickSwap, which is one of my preferred decentralized exchanges on Polygon Network, 1inch DEX or others, you're used to settlement times that are in the seconds, measured in the seconds, not hours, not even minutes most of the time, but seconds, where it's like, okay, I clicked it and I wait for on-chain confirmation that a trade went through. This is what a lot of the Ethereum maximalists are saying when they believe that Ethereum will flip Bitcoin. I don't know that I agree with that fully. I don't think I do, but still, I get where the sentiment comes from. Yet I'm still excited. I'm excited about seeing this development. This is cool to see that there's something launching on Bitcoin that's truly decentralized and will allow for DeFi to run more seamlessly. But it does require, the Stacks protocol and their POX mechanism. So Hashkey, Genesis Block Ventures, and SOSV, apparently they threw in that initial funding to get this up off the ground. So expect they're going to need to get that paid back. And then the ongoing fees should help run that DEX. What do you guys think of that? What do you think of a decentralized exchange running directly on top of Bitcoin? Do you think this is going to change DeFi? Do you think it's too little too late? Do you think that this will be more meaningful, say, I don't know, in 2024 or 2025 when we see the next Bitcoin halving? Well, I've given you my thoughts so far. You tell me in the comments section what you think of this new DEX running on Bitcoin and the Stacks protocol specifically. I think it's bullish. I think it's going to be a good thing, but you tell me. All right, guys, last news item here. And this is not so much of a news item as much as it is a data point to help validate the last few news items. We talked about how there are some people saying that Cardano is going to do okay, but Polkadot may do better. We've looked at a decentralized exchange that's going to launch on top of Bitcoin. And then we've looked at some of the other major coins and networks such as Solana, Polkadot versus Ethereum, and then kind of put all this into the context of decentralized finance. I think that it's time for us to take a look at some other data sources. But first, some comments. Zotrak says he thinks this is great, this decentralized exchange running on Bitcoin, but maybe it should run on Lightning. I think maybe you're right. Probably should. Barry Merritt says ETH smart contract fees are too expensive. Yeah, I totally agree. And I've been saying so for months, which is why I'm on Polygon and using DEXs like QuickSwap, where the fees are, they've been as low as fractions of a penny, and I think they've grown all the way up to maybe a few pennies. So I'm running decentralized finance on a decentralized exchange that is nowhere near even the fees of Bitcoin, which are at an all-time low since the last bull run. So yeah, in my mind, just for my daily usage, Polygon has all but replaced native Ethereum layer 1 for me, only because it can, right? As a crypto miner, as a GPU miner, I can mine to Ethermine and take my payouts natively on Polygon. So there's basically no shift, right, mentally or behaviorally for me to participate in smart contracts or trades or DEXs. So yeah, I don't see any kind of I don't see a direct correlation there. But yeah, layer 1, you're right. That is literally true. The fees they've priced out a lot of the market. But yeah, whoa, got some redactions going on in the chat. That's all right. It's all right. You guys can say what you want. But here's a TVL overview from DeFi Llama, and you can see this in the description of this video, but defilama.com/chains. And what we see here is the total value locked across all smart contract systems. But here's the juiciest part. We also get to see right now the total value locked across all DeFi instruments within Bitcoin. And this is going to become increasingly important as we see DEXs roll out on top of Bitcoin. We need to know, apples to apples, who's doing what and how much it's worth. It's kind of a big deal. Most of the debate between Bitcoin and Ethereum is usually boiled down to the straw man of which coin is more valuable. And again, I'll just say it's a straw man argument. It doesn't follow. It's non sequitur, I'll say. It doesn't follow that the value of Ethereum is the native value of the utility token. That shouldn't be what we focus on, and it didn't used to be what we focused on in Ethereum. We used to focus on the total value locked within DeFi and NFTs on top of Ethereum. That's what gives Ethereum its value, not the native governance token or utility token, right? That's not the thing that has kept me interested in Ethereum. Frankly, I'm more interested in having wrapped Bitcoin on Ethereum than I am in just holding Ethereum natively, because Bitcoin, well, it's complicated, but I think it's more interesting once you put Bitcoin into smart contracts that currently don't exist natively in Bitcoin. You kind of have to do that in the Ethereum ecosystem, right? So fees or high fees or not, you kind of have to make a deal with the devil and go into these smart contract systems elsewhere. But here's the total value locked. It's important to note that late last year, there were only so many smart contract systems, or early last year, there were only so many smart contract systems, I should say mid last year. Ethereum, Celo, and Tron, right? Tron taking a teeny tiny portion of the market, and Celo holding a bit more, with Ethereum DeFi dominance at 94%. That grew though, right? Ethereum's DeFi dominance grew all the way up to 97%, while Celo, Tron, Kava, Binance, Terra, and Polygon all battled with each other to try to get a piece of the pie. That said, DeFi was going insane. If you recall, this was the middle of DeFi summer, right? Ethereum was all the rage because it was the only game in town with apps like Uniswap, just to kind of harken back to that point. But Uniswap totally, I mean, it basically fully, it was the identity of DeFi, that and SushiSwap, right? A fork of Uniswap for additional yield and yield farming. That was the time frame. That's the context, right? And then after that point, towards the end of the year, everybody else started to realize, oh my gosh, we got to jump on this bandwagon. So you had Polygon finally launch, alleviating some of the traffic, some of the network congestion on Ethereum, but really not that much. See, 0.01%, not so much. Yeah. So then moving into 2021, see that? January 5th. 97.8%. We're almost 98% of the market is Ethereum, right? Even though you now have Binance Smart Chain, Terra, Kava, Celo, Tron, and Polygon, all of these other competitors jumping in to try to take a piece of the DeFi pie. Just the beginning of this year, guys. So not even a year ago. Then there was Huobi Echo Chain, right? And you had DeFi Chain, Ontology, Avalanche, Wan Chain, more entrants. And then they started to battle it out. Huobi Echo Chain looking like a winner, and Binance Smart Chain quickly taking market share. If you recall that time frame, guys, Binance Smart Chain, against all reasonable expectations, started to really take over. And why is that? Because of the low fees. Even though Binance Smart Chain is relatively centralized, people started to use it anyway. I realize I'm just talking about historical data. If you weren't focused on this before, though, this is important to have this context. But moving into the year, right, we got Ethereum basically hitting an all-time low for its dominance in the DeFi space sometime in April, right, at 68%. It lost a significant advantage that it had before, with Binance Smart Chain taking almost 20% of the market. It's huge, right? Like anybody who wasn't paying attention to how fast that was growing. I recall seeing this adoption curve and thinking, how is this possible? Like, how do people not value decentralization anymore? How is it that we're going to trust Binance with our coins and bridge from Ethereum over there and back? Like this doesn't bother anyone at all. But then I tried it and I was like, oh my gosh, I think I get it now. Like, the bridges work. You don't have to KYC or anything. The bridges just work. So after trying some, I kind of started to like DeFi again. It wasn't so painful. You didn't have to have, a minimum, like whatever, $2,000 to start playing the liquidity provider game so that you could eat the fees and then, try to get some astronomical gains and then get back out with your shirt again. It finally started to become accessible to every man. But yeah, at that time, Binance it took such a big amount, like all-time high, 20% of the market. And here we are back, guys, over to today, right? Where this just massive competition in the space. I actually have to scroll down to get almost the full view here. I don't know if I still can. There are too many. Got Zill. There we go. Nope, can't even see all of the competitors here, right? Because you got some others that are coming up from the bottom there, but so many other smart chain networks you see as I mouse over that. But the very, very top, guys, we see Ethereum is still number one. How many different protocols are there? Almost 300 different protocols that are listed there. But Binance Smart Chain is no slouch either, right? Like, we've got huge evidence that there's a reason people went to these chains, right? It's up significantly, but the total value locked. This is why I think this is so important to pay attention to, guys. You've heard me say it before. TVL, or total value locked, became one of our vocabulary words here on this channel a few weeks ago. And this is exactly why. Right? We see that Ethereum is great. It's a great protocol. And those of us who are GPU miners, this is what got most of us involved. But the total value locked is just under 200 billion. I know. You're thinking like, okay, whatever. Bitcoin is got a market cap of significantly more. What's $200 billion really? What's $172 billion really when you look at it that way? I mean, that's not even, I don't even think this is a proper, like, true measurement just yet. Because we look at some of the other measurements that are available, such as market cap versus TVL. And then the ratio is not in Ethereum's favor. It's in Binance's favor. Binance only holds $20 billion of TVL, but against its own market cap, it's a bigger multiplier. It's actually, it hits above its weight is what I'm saying. So yeah, you've got a multiplier of significant amounts there, right? Like, instead of being at that measurement of 3, oh, just updated too. What the heck just happened? I clicked on something and I made it all weird. Sorry, Uncle Seth is getting crazy. But Pocket Change says DeFi is always food related. Pie, cake, pancake, yeah, syrup. I think there was Burger Swap for a while, actually. I don't know why. Burger, fry, shake swap. Anyway, it'd be good. Man, I get why Ray J is hungry. So yeah, just looking at some of this, guys, just another data point. I realize that we've talked about this for a while. Thank you for picking up what I'm throwing down here. It's really important, though, for us to take a look at these numbers. And I know you're thinking like, oh my gosh, but the fundamentals, Seth. Binance Smart Chain, it's fundamentally centralized. And some of these other proof of stake networks, they're fundamentally centralized. And what do you want us to do? Run out and run validator nodes instead of mining machines, mining rigs? Well, if you want to, it's up to you, obviously. But if you want to, why not? I ain't mad at you. If you want to go and run a proof of stake validator, why wouldn't you? You know, it just kind of, it makes sense to me when you look at all of this and consider that number one spot, Ethereum, before long, like, this video will age well. This quote will age well. Before long, Ethereum is no longer going to accept our hash rate. And all that total value locked, I promise you, is not going to migrate to Ethereum Classic. That's not going to happen. I don't care what other mining content creators are saying, and I respect the heck out of them for what they do well. I don't think many of them are looking at total value locked in this way. What other projects are saying, like, you know what? I really want to change everything that I'm doing over to Ergo. Yeah, nobody's saying that at all. Not a soul, right? Nobody is saying, like, none of these projects are saying that they want to switch over to Ergo or Ethereum Classic or to Ravencoin or to any of the other coins that are very profitable for us to mine. Unfortunately, that's not happening. And DeFi, all these crazy degenerate gamblers over here in DeFi, right? Like they're throwing millions and billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars at DeFi. That's not going away. NFTs aren't going away. These are the use case of crypto in the eyes of most people and industries. So we've got to pay attention to this, guys. Binance, Solana, Terra. But here's what I wanted to get at. From the earlier content piece from before, that indication that maybe Cardano could surge in the market cap, and then the indication that from Capo that Polkadot might do even better than Cardano. I actually believe that could be true. And here's why. We see this stacked ranking here. Ethereum is in number 1, Binance, Solana, Terra, Avalanche, Tron, Phantom, and Polygon, then Arbitrum and others, right? Waves, we haven't even talked about Waves. I'm a member of a group that is like, they're all wave maximalists, basically. But yeah, Waves has got almost a $2 billion of value locked there too, even though it's only 4 protocols. It's kind of nuts. But then Huobi Smart Chain or Huobi Echo Chain, Cello and others, right? Clayton, I don't even know how... I don't know how they managed to get put on the map, but yeah, there's more. Osmosis. We haven't even talked about the Cosmos ecosystem, but Osmosis, Kava, Thorchain, which I'm really excited about, and others. But way down the list, we've got Karura. What is Karura? What is Moon River? What are some of these others? Well, Karura and Moon River are part of the Polkadot ecosystem. Yeah. Polkadot is delivering something. It's just not mainnet yet. And also, farther down the stacked ranking list is Kusama, which is the official testnet of Polkadot. So there you go, guys. A little bit of knowledge goes a long way. And I'm having to pick this stuff up as I go, right? Like I wasn't that dialed into this in this way before, but I do have friends that are quite good at all these other networks. Pocket Change says, how come no one talks about Ethereum Classic? I appreciate you asking that, Pocket Change. And here's my reason. Others may have theirs, but here's my reason. I look at this list and I don't see Ethereum Classic on this list. It makes me really sad. Hey, shout out to Sif Chain. Speaking of famous wives, yeah, Sif Chain is in the Cosmos ecosystem as well, and they're growing in their TVL. But behind Karura, Moon River, and even Bitcoin. But here's Bitcoin, right? Here's kind of Bitcoin's dirty secret. RSK, which is Rootstock, which technically runs on top of Bitcoin. And we don't see Stacks anywhere up here, nor do I actually see Stacks anywhere below. Smart BCH, hey, it's cool to see it running. That's good. Good for the Bitcoin Cash team. But Stacks, don't even really see it here yet. It's not really even a player here yet. But that's my reason. Okay, Pocket Change. My reason for not talking too much about Ethereum Classic or taking it too seriously yet is that clearly some of the biggest DeFi projects don't take it seriously yet either. And that makes me really sad. They put in a lot of work and there's some really good people aligned with that project. Same with other projects too, right? There's no lack of talent in this space. There's no lack of hard work in the blockchain and cryptocurrency space. But unfortunately, the market chooses what it chooses and it has its reasons, and it clearly has not chosen Ethereum Classic yet. I'd love to see it maybe change, but I'm not seeing that anytime soon. You know, we would have to see something really significant happen. And I'm just going to say, like, it would have to happen fast and it would have to happen big for that to kind of go hit my radar. So at this point, we see all these top 15s, for example, right? Osmosis being in the Cosmos ecosystem. I'm surprised that Cosmos itself is not listed here, but I guess Cosmos is an SDK and an ecosystem, right? Cosmos and Tendermint are really technologies that are used by other protocols or other platforms. But yeah, you got these others, right? Secret Network is coming up as well. So yeah, I would just say maybe pay attention to this listing. There's a reason that I put it in the chat, and I may be pulling this up as a regular data source for the live stream in the future, guys. I know I've gone off on this tangent for a long time. I think this is an important data point. That's why I'm spending so much time here. And I'm so glad that Pocket Change asked that question, because I think that is the, not the $1 million question, not even the $1 billion question. It's the $150 billion question or more. right? I think that's what it takes to contend directly with Ethereum. Or maybe the $10 billion question we could say, right? Like you got Solana at over 10 billion. You got Terra at over 10 billion. You got Avalanche at almost 10 billion in total value locked. And I think that's the metric that a lot of these other projects are looking for. But you got almost $10 billion locked there. Avalanche shot up, right? People did not see that happening. Even a few months ago, there were some people who I know that did see that. They were like, oh my gosh, TVL, the commitments from some of these projects on Avalanche. And I was like, phooey. What do you mean Avalanche? Nobody's using Avalanche. I'm sorry I didn't listen, right? Like Josh, if you're watching, bruh, I owe you one. You were trying to look out for me. So yeah, there are projects that are dealing with this measurement, and they don't care what the consensus protocol is today, right? Every single one of the projects that I'm outlining here on top of DeFi, only one uses proof of work, and that one is getting rid of proof of work. All the rest are proof of stake without fail. All the rest use validator networks. They do not use any kind of hash rate at all. Now, do I think that that's wise in the long run? No, I don't. No, this is not me ideologically making an argument that we should all be fans of proof of stake. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that right now there's a lot of smart money in other places. Proof of work has its place, and I'm glad that I'm a part of it and that we're a part of it because it's meaningful. And I still think it's the best way to secure a blockchain. That said, it hasn't stopped DeFi from growing with proof of stake, right? If we were to take the combined TVL of all these other networks, right, we've got over 70,000 70 billion in TVL here in just the next several projects that line up after Ethereum. So we've got over $250 billion just in TVL. And again, I think that's a false metric. I think that there's more locked up in there. You've got projects, again, without shilling, you got projects like Hex that have a notional market cap of over $100 billion right now. And that's clearly missing from this figure on Ethereum. So that can't be right. You've got like just stablecoin projects that should be over 100 billion between Tether and USDC. I don't know how much of that is actually lined up here in this TVL figure. So I don't think that's a perfect measurement. But I'm just saying, guys, we've got these top 15s, every single one, proof of stake, except one, right? One of these things is not like the others. One of these things just doesn't belong. And the Ethereum core developers, I think that's why they've been pushing so hard to go proof of stake. Yeah, they also hate us, guys, straight up. They basically don't even make a secret of it. They hate miners, like straight up. Miners get paid too much. What do you mean we get paid too much? We're securing the network. There's a reason that Ethereum is #1 now, and it's because of proof of work. It's because of miners. So this is bittersweet for me to talk about, guys. Just gotta say that. It's very, very bittersweet because I think proof of work is provably superior, and it's provably more decentralized and decentralizable, right? Like you can't decentralize proof of stake across validators if they all require an AWS level of security, right? Like you can only do that on certain public cloud systems. You can't just build a rig at home that can compete on that level. So the decentralization factor, I think, is far lower. And I do think it's, in a way, it's a mistake for the industry to move this way. But money talks. And what I'm saying here on this one YouTube channel is has not been persuasive to Binance or Solana or Terra or Avalanche or any of these other projects, right? Like they're not going to change their business model because, some dude in his pajamas on a YouTube channel is saying that proof of work is better. So, and yes, I am doing the professional mullet. I'm literally wearing my pajamas. You just can't see them. I was going to wear a bathrobe today also. And like have a little fake like bubble pipe for the whole Uncle Seth bit. Like I was going to go 0 to full uncle today. Oh, it's actually so much better. I actually need to wear these. Anyway. Yeah, it's bittersweet. I don't think any of these projects are paying attention to me though. So sorry guys. Sorry. I apologize. But yeah, this is a bittersweet truth that I'm having to deal with for myself. On that note, is proof of work dead? Hell to the nah. It ain't dead. And is proof of work profitable? Hell to the yeah. Let's talk about it. All right, guys, over here on What to Mine, we've got our all of our figures lined up right here. I wanted to do a video, a live video on just how to set up hash per dollar per watt so you can make smart decisions about your capitalization of new equipment. What does that mean? It's a fancy way of just saying, like, don't overbuy equipment that you're going to have to try to pay down as we move towards a bear market. And you have heard this from other channels too, right? Son of a Tech has asked this question. Every content creator in the GPU mining space that's being honest is asking this question, right? Like, how much more equipment should I buy? And how much should I really pay for it, right? Like, yeah, I think that's the main question. I'll go over a spreadsheet and I'll show you how to make these calculations for yourself in a simple way, just using something like Google Docs. It's not too hard. You guys can do it, I promise. It's not too hard. And because, like, if I can do it, you could do it. That's what I'm talking about. So guys, here on What to Mine, we can go over to the GPUs tab and check to see really, really quickly. Gordon Murray also, he brings some, again, dropping facts, says GPUs don't exist. That's true. The idea of GPUs exists, though. And the reality of GPUs, for those of us who already have them, well, it's like, oh gosh, what is it? It's like identity theory. Like, my identity doesn't exist to you. It's a very subjective thing. It's a very, very subjective thing. But you know what isn't subjective? The hash rates. Here on Team Green, we've got top of the list, 3090, still hashing away at under $9 of profit per day if you're on 10-cent power. And the top profit coins are Ethereum, Conflux, Swap, Raven, and let's see what else hits the radar. Flux. I think those are our top profit coins. If we go farther down the list on some oddball cards like the 3070 LHR, we've got Rio currency, and then Equilibria, just like a bad penny. It just keeps turning up. It just has not gone away yet, guys. It's there. Got Music Coin, right? So Music Coin, as well as what else is on the list? Not much. That's pretty much it, guys. That's amazing. Clean sweep between these projects that have been around for a while. One thing that has me concerned is that, sure, you're going to earn $5 of daily profit on Swap, but if we look at Swap in our GPU mining portfolio, $5 of profit every single day on Swap, guys, it would not take long. If you had a relatively heavy hashing farm at home, it wouldn't take long for you to earn enough to actually move the market. You could potentially, in some of the larger scale mines that we've seen on YouTube, right? The Red Panda mining channels and the Bitsby Trippin channels. And now Son of a Tech with over 5 gigahash in his network, or in his local mine. If they were to turn that towards Swap, they could potentially own 1 to 2% of the coin supply in very short period of time. And if they sold it because they had to pay for their power, which Son of a Tech has admitted he needs to, at least he's got bills to pay. So he mines not just for fun, but also for profit. He actually needs to try to get his bills paid with the resulting profits from mining. And many of us do, right? That is a reality. Many of us do. If you just jumped into Swap all in 100% of your hash rate, you could actually damage its price. You could dump it. And I think that's why the chart for Swap looks so volatile. We got to pay attention to those two things, guys. We have to be wise stewards of the coins that we mine. Just like, you know, concealed carrying a gun. You're responsible for every bullet that comes out of that barrel. When we mine, we're responsible for every coin that comes out of our mined wallets, right? Like, in a way, not legally. It's not literally the same thing. Like, can't be taken to court over market dumping a coin. But you get what I'm saying, right? There's still that, like, innate moral responsibility. We've got to be a little bit more mindful. But that's Team Green. Team Red, guys, top of the list has not changed. It's still Radeon 7 all day. It's still Ethereum. And on our HBM2 cards with the Vega architecture, we still see Ergo popping into the list. Let's take a look at Ergo here. Ergo, right? Hundreds of millions in its market cap and a coin price of almost $10. We're not gonna market dump Ergo, most of us in this live stream, and damage this coin. That's not a reality. Firo also is on the list. Flux makes an appearance again on the leaderboard. And then let's see what else pops up. Wow, it's Firo, guys. A lot of Firo. Since they switched to Firo Pow, it is really coming up. Music Coin also is popping up as well, but, you know, buyer beware. Nice Hash. No, get out of here, Nice Hash. Nobody likes you. Vertcoin, Ethereum Classic, Bitcoin Z, and Bitcoin Gold. But again, buyer beware. Oh, I got custom there. But that's hilarious. Yeah, if you have 0 hash rate at 0 watts, then mine Bitcoin Z and Bitcoin Gold, I guess. I don't know how that happened. I think it's because I didn't go with just my stock numbers. Oh, hey, you know what? How did I miss this before, guys? Good grief. Just like a dum-dum, I didn't make that change. Power cost has been editable probably for some time, and I just looked right past it. So thank you to the What to Mine team if you added that at some point recently. And if I just missed it, then thank you anyway. That's a really great thing to have there. But 14-cent power, I think, is much more realistic as far as us having a bunch. Let's see. Hey, we got Crypto Mikkel in the chat. What's going on, homeboy? And as well as I Need My Call of Duty is still here. Midday Rester says, what do you think about Ethereum Classic? And who else do we have in our live comments? Ray J and some others. Painkiller is here. Painkiller says proof of work is better than proof of stake. I really do agree. I do. Most recently, let's see. I Need My Call of Duty says, is Raven worth mining over Ethereum? That's a tough one, guys. That's a tough one. Let's take a look at our portfolio and see what's performing well right now. I personally think that DeFi native protocols are going to pump harder than some of the other coins that are strictly a pure currency or a pure tokenization play. And I know that sounds like bad news, but let's take a look at our portfolios and I'll give you my feedback on Ravencoin, Ethereum Classic, Flux, and Ether as we go. These are important projects to us as miners. Firo is on the list as well, so let's take a look at that chart and then see what we can glean from that info. But looking back at Team Red, guys, it's still Radeon 7 top of the list. It's like it's head and shoulders above all the newer cards. If you have some Radeon 7s still in your possession, if you're not getting whatever those code 12 errors are, well, first off, stop mining on Windows. If you're getting code 12 errors, what are you even doing with your life? Why are you mining on Windows? Get Hive OS. There's a link down in the description. Yeah, it's an affiliate link, of course. But if you just use the code mineyourbiz, you'll get, I think it's still $10 credited to your account if you have more than 4 rigs. So try it. What do you have to lose, guys? Just try it. Stop your mining on Windows. It's just not, Windows is not your friend. It's fine for checking overclocking and for doing like performance testing, but for everything else, why? Why would you do that to yourself? Pass commands over bash to all of your entire farm instead of trying to like remote in and fix one rig at a time. Ugh, miss me with that. Don't love it. But yeah, Linux for sure. Vega 56 and 64 also show Ergo, right? So clearly HBM2, that much higher bandwidth throughput, is a fan of the Autolycos algorithm. But for everything else, it's Firo and Ethash or Dagger Hashimoto. But then with the rare exception of this one that's got Ethereum Classic in the money again. But I think even that could just be a problem with the number of reported algorithms that are on what to mine for the 5500 XT. So just be aware of that. Jumping into our portfolios, guys, this is kind of the meat and potatoes of the show. We've talked a lot about DeFi. We've talked a little bit about the various hash rates. We're still in the money is the bottom line as GPU miners. So let's look at what that means on the portfolio. In the GPU mining portfolio, guys, you can see that we're up over 24 hours and the total portfolio is up. Flux is back in the lead, displacing Equilibria handily at over $4,000 based on the $1,000 we put in late May. It's doing great. That chart is clearly bullish. The market cap at about $200 million. Personally, I see there being more room to grow, but only if the Flux team continues to build at the pace that they've been building. Zelcore is great. It was not enough. The Flux nodes were great. They were not enough. The parallel assets were also a good idea to participate in DeFi, but they were not enough. They've had to sort of divide their market cap and had to make sure that their coin distribution was even across all these new parallel assets. From an engineering standpoint, and let alone the tokenomics and the financial standpoint, from an engineering standpoint, they've jumped through a lot of hoops and over a lot of hurdles, but there's still more, right? There still needs to be, because there isn't a total value locked figure that can work in favor of Flux. They've still got to win those partnerships. So Dan, if you're watching, The Trunk, if you're watching, all the team guys, you know I love you dearly. And you know this is true too, right? This isn't tough love or anything. This isn't me trying to like badmouth a team. Nah, they're having their moment, guys. They're winning. They've definitely shown that they can win in these conditions, these market conditions. But I think to pop into that next gear, right, to really, really kick in the afterburners, I really think that Flux has to be able to honestly announce those partnerships that show usage of the Flux network. It can't just be Zelcore, because user base is great, but that's their core business in getting them, getting users of Zelcore wallet to do trades internally. That's the business model for Zelcore. It's useful for what it's good for, and it's great that their native wallet is a multi-wallet, right? It should get more people to use it, but it's not enough, right? It's not even close to enough. And it's a great wallet. Don't get me wrong. But Flux network, the Flux nodes, the decentralized network has to gain more partnership. Guys, I might not be able to talk about Flux in this way very much into the future. My day job may put me in a position where there is perhaps a conflict of interest. So I've got to let you know now, like, hopefully it doesn't come to that. I'm always going to just tell you what I think. But I might not be able to talk about Flux in depth in the future because of work. That said, man, I do see Flux doing well. Somebody asked, and Crypto Mikkel said, Flux to $1. Bro, I think that's a very real possibility. People talking about Dogecoin to $1, that's a meme, right? Flux to $1, there's real utility. And there's a real team building stuff that actually matters. So yeah, I definitely see a possibility there. Being able to run Flux nodes is another way, like I mentioned before, running validator nodes for other networks. Well, Flux offers the ability to run enhanced service nodes on hardware that you have lying around. So I think, I've talked to the Flux team. I've been very, very public about it. And they've even admitted, I was saying back in 2018 that smart contractor master nodes needed to move to a model of being enhanced service nodes. That's what Loki did and now turned into Oxen. They run the session messenger, which is phenomenal. They're going to continue to grow because when you run a node for them, it actually does something. It's not just a bean counter, right? Where it's like, well, we've proved that the blockchain network security is good. And yeah, all the other nodes are honest. It's like, yeah, F that. This is high-end hardware. What is it actually doing? Is it running a video game server for me? Is it running a messaging board? Is it hosting a website? Is it running email? I know, probably less useful. But the point is it doing anything else other than just sitting there and telling me that a blockchain is working? Because it needs to do something else. And we've known this since 2018. Way too many masternode projects in 2018. Way too many of them just like dumped or exit scammed or whatever. Flux got the message, right? They understood, right? To their credit. So yeah, being able to run an enhanced service node there, very powerful thing. But I think that now that the network is in place, we need to see those partnerships. And when we see those partnerships, Flux will absolutely pop. I think it does have that overhead and more. Crypto Mikkel, I think it can go even higher than that for sure. Maybe even in this bull run, but we'd have to see those partnerships. We do. So if anybody from other distributed compute projects is within the sound of my voice, here's a freebie. Flux, Dan, team, you're welcome. Here's a freebie. Any other projects that may be watching this video, reach out to the Flux team, see if they can do something for you, right? Because I think that there's a real possibility there. I'm still interested in running a community board that's not on Discord, for example. That's still something that's interesting to me. So Crypto McKelly's like, you know what? You're right. I do need to raise my sights. He just 10x'd that. Just more than double down. He 10x down. Sweet. But yeah, guys, here, Equilibria, I'm struggling to take it seriously. Even though the market cap is very high, I'm struggling to take it seriously because it hit the radar too fast. It was too much too fast. I'm still not super trusting of it. I know it's weird. But anyway, Ray J also comments, Flux has a solid team and business plan. I totally agree. Guys, I totally agree. I've got nothing but respect for the team. What I think the market wants to see, I'm not even talking about my own sentiment on the feeling, on that though. What I think the market wants to see are those partnerships, because then those partnerships indicate something like TVL, which is a hard number that all the other people who are involved in DeFi and in trading and in NFTs can then, like, they can understand that. That's the language they understand. It's like, okay, cool. Partnerships and TVL. Oh, you have faith in this project. Prove it. How much faith? $10 billion worth? Because the market, I just showed you. The market is rewarding that magic number where they're like, cool, yeah, the market believes in you by $10 billion. So we do too. Oh, everybody hurry up, put your money in this project. It's weird, right? We're such tryhards. We're such copycats. It's dumb, but you see what I'm saying, right? Like, does that logic track? Is it weird? Ray J also comments, proof of useful work. Yep, that was the catchphrase back in 2018. Proof of useful work. That's what ProgPow was supposed to replace, but personally, the way that I envisioned that working, without it being proof of useful work, it just needed to be service nodes. Not master nodes, service nodes. Serve. Give. Right? Keep giving value to the community, and they'll put money in your project. It's really that simple. Don't assert to us that you can maintain a blockchain with perfect accuracy. We don't need perfect records, right? Like that's not really the engineering problem we're trying to solve anymore, right? Like if you want perfect records, you can still just use a MySQL database. You still can. That's totally possible. Yeah, I know I'm oversimplifying, but yeah, speed, throughput, all this other stuff, like so many things that were like catchphrases, it needs to do more, right? Those are all just features. They're not benefits. So we need to see that benefit, guys. TVL is just one measurement of benefit is all. It's just proof of benefit to more people. So anyway, guys, Ravencoin, it's high on the list as well. And I promised you that I would give you my thoughts on it. 7 day, it's up really, really high. And I appreciate that. Market cap is over $1 billion. And that's exciting. Nobody's building on it. There is no TVL figure. And there's no roadmap for TVL because nobody's building on it. Prove me wrong. It pains me to say it, guys. I've got a bag of Ravencoin. I've mined it. I believe that for GPU miners, it's not a bad bet. But as far as it being a network that developers are saying, you know what I really want to build on? I really want to build on Ravencoin. Yeah, said no one ever. It's not happening. I don't care what other channels are saying about it. If there's Moonboy talk on Ravencoin, then I think it's misguided for right now. Barry Merritt goes out of his way to remind us that it is a UTXO-based system. So for anybody who doesn't know what that means, Ravencoin is basically a fork of Bitcoin, but with the ability to easily mint digital assets from the wallet. The narrative has now shifted since NFTs are popular. The narrative has now shifted to that meaning that there's some kind of NFT platform on Ravencoin. That's not strictly speaking true. What Ravencoin initially debuted in the wallet, the Ravencoin Core wallet, was the ability to mint an asset by burning 500 of your Ravencoin, and then to associate an IPFS hash with that asset. So if you wanted to put some artwork into IPFS and then take the hash of that artwork, you could do so. But you could also put a smart contract in there. You could also put a PDF. You could also put the deed to your house. You could also put whatever you wanted into IPFS, including nasty stuff like CP. And I brought that up. Gosh, guys, I'm actually getting fiery right now because I feel that strongly about it. Mad respect to Michael Carter. I mentioned this in a live stream when he was talking about it because Carter's been very, very closely aligned with Ravencoin. And guys, I've met with Tron Black. If you watch the interview with Tron Black and with Jeremy Anderson, one of the lead developers for Ravencoin, one of the people actually like putting in the work to actually build the thing, not just the person who's architecting it and talking about it publicly, but person who actually like is building a lot of it. Among others, there's a large team. Good people. I don't want to like confuse things, right? Especially recently after seeing the whole Pomp and BitBoy thing. Guys, just know I respect these people very much, but I'm not seeing Ravencoin be used. And now to see the narrative shift towards it being an NFT platform, that's never what it was. It's never what it was initially outlined to do. And now it's too little too late to call it an NFT platform. Bruce Fenton, who is now no longer directly associated with the project, left the Ravencoin project to go get his Series 7 license so he could be an actual financial advisor. right? That sounds bad. Like, oh, I'm a real boy. I'm a real financial advisor. I've got a Series 7 license. That's not Bruce. Nobody pulls his strings. I love Bruce's content to pieces. Don't know him personally, but he's a very outspoken individual, very free-spirited, and credentialed. Now he can literally give financial advice in this space. But he left to pursue that. And the idea for Ravencoin was to be a vehicle, right? A substrate upon which you could build digital assets that corresponded to real world commodities, real world stocks, real world assets that had value in traditional finance markets. That was it. Straight up. It's a simple playbook. It's one page, right? Like, it's literally just one page in the Ravencoin playbook. That's it. And then Bruce Fenton stepped away from the project to go pursue those credentials and is not directly involved in it anymore. So yeah, I remember when I interviewed Tron Black in person, and Jeremy in person, by going directly to this it's actually a campus. It's a different corporate campus where the entire core Ravencoin team actually has like a rather posh office. It's very nice. But yeah, there's so many little pieces of like of marketing communications for that I'm like, wait, what? What do you mean it's fully decentralized? The majority of the development takes place under one roof, literally in one room. Literally in one room. I mean, like I could flip a circuit breaker and shut off the computers where the majority of the repositories for Ravencoin are being coded. My gosh, guys, it just like it kills me. It kills me. It kills me that we're even having these discussions. We're even having these debates. And I haven't really been public about it before, but like, that's the reality. It doesn't make it centralized, right? It does not. It doesn't make it centralized. My point is that it's a very nuanced thing, right? It's a very nuanced thing. The GitHub repo stands on its own. The various copies of the core wallet stand on their own. Once they're installed, and we're all running copies of the blockchain on our various computers, they are immutable. Like, all of that is true. It can be true that the blockchain itself is immutable and decentralized, but it can also be true that the majority of development is centralized. See what I mean? It's a nuanced thing. It's a very nuanced thing. So yeah, sure, pull requests can come from somewhere else, but who approves the GD pull requests? God, I'm like, nobody ever asks this question. It's like, okay, well, who approves the pull requests on Ethereum? It's not Vitalik, surely. But it is somebody else. It's a maintainer. Maybe it's a quorum of maintainers. Maybe it circulates. But the point is, Satoshi doesn't approve the pull requests on Bitcoin any longer. And Ethereum is no longer primarily maintained by Vitalik, but he has a lot of sway. These are all projects that at one point or another had some degree of centralization. So we have to ask ourselves now, what have you done for us lately? We have to ask to find out. Buggage and glitchage, brand new burner account. Look, I gotta click through to see who the heck you are. Brand new burner account jumps in, but has been on the live stream long enough to be able to comment about something with a new partnership on a new project. Cool. That's cool. We're gonna take a look at that in our stacked ranking, see if that's actually affect anything. Because we often talk about, like, in crypto, buying the rumor, selling the news, but I don't like shills. I don't like secret shills who are not very good at their sock puppet account game. So, might actually ban this person? Yeah, I like that idea. No, I'll leave your comment there for now. Is Uncle Seth going evil? No, Uncle Seth is Uncle Seth. He's acting more like Uncle than like Seth right now. My apologies. Let me get my green drink going. I got sort of an Iron Man 2 thing going on, a little bit of palladium poisoning or something. Oof. Oh, yikes. But guys, yeah, no, and I hate to make it sound like an either or thing. There's no scarcity. Yeah, I'm joking. I'm joking with you, Buggage. I'm joking. Don't make it weird. I know I made it weird first. I love your face. I'm actually feeling kind of fiery about the other stuff. So please forgive me. That's not who we are around here. Yeah, I joke a lot about lethal force too, right? But the bottom line is, I actually do believe in the goodness of people, and I do love people. I just don't trust most of them. That's kind of the bottom line there. But let's take a look at some of these other projects, guys. Ravencoin, love the idea of it. The execution, I don't know how much farther it has to go. I don't know. I would love to see more partnerships come out of it. I'd love to see them be able to pull out of that what I think is a bit of a tailspin in terms of adoption, but for them, it has to happen on the side of developers. Much like Flux needs to have more developers and projects choose to containerize their projects into the Flux network, right? Using Docker or whatever else. They need to deploy their projects on the Flux network. I think it's a very simple step forward for them. And it's like, it's as simple as just telling those projects, like, can your project be Dockerized, right? Containerized. Cool. You can run on Flux. What's the SDK for Ravencoin? I think they've got the same problem that Bitcoin does in terms of getting people to build on top. I do. Because you see Bitcoin right now, we talked about rootstock and stacks in today's episode, right? Long play episode. Guys, there's a reason that I started doing live streams, and I don't even care how long they run at this point, because there's a lot to talk about in this space. And real talk, mining fam, you're some of the most intelligent people in the crypto space. If your ears are burning, it's because I brag about you to the people, the moon boys who I talk to on a regular basis. I legit brag about you guys. Crypto miners are some of the sharpest people in the Bitcoin and blockchain space, because you're forced to understand blockchain at a more fundamental level and study this stuff out. So just know that if I say stuff in a fire way, it's not out of disrespect, and I'm not trying to talk down to anybody here. I respect the heck out of you guys. The intelligence level here is what drives these conversations so long, right? Is that we can have deep dive conversations about some pretty cool details, and not just talk about like, number go up. Oh, this coin's going to the moon. Oh, you know what? I'm going to be on CNBC Money, and I'm going to tell everybody that hard assets are the way of the future. Why am I doing the robot dance? Because the people all sound the same. We can talk about stuff that's actually innovative because you have command of some of that low-level info in blockchain. So thank you, guys. It's not lip service. When I say I love your face, it's true. You guys are the best. But back in the charts here, guys. So yeah, yeah, really, you guys are cut above. You know it. You know it. You're also way humble about it too. That's what makes this so much fun. So anyway, yeah, Ravencoin, I think it's great. And in the context of this portfolio, it's done super well over the last short time frame. Right? So wrap Bitcoin, Ryo currency, profitability ends at Grin. But way down on the list, Safecoin, I did not add any entries there. I'm still gonna have to do this after the show, guys. I'm so sorry about that, but I'm gonna have to do this after the show because we are running quite long on this show, so I don't want to abuse your attention by staying on stream too long while I just do some housekeeping there. Yeah, I need my Call of Duty says MYB, not MTB. Yeah, MTBF. That's the name of my show. What's MTBF before the stream shuts down, right? Like, grrr. Anyway, storage is top of the list over on hard drives. We're up over 1 day. Total portfolio is down though, and storage is kind of finding support at its current price over $1.50. That's pretty cool. Chia coin is no longer at $150, but still below 200. It found resistance, and let's go ahead and open up that chart a little bit more in depth. But clearly, there was some rumor that got people really excited, and so it tried to find resistance, not last 24 hours, but last 48 hours. So let's go to the 7-day chart here. Last 48 hours, it popped way up, trading volume way high. So you know there were some bag holders way back here like, please give me more than $150. I'm dying here because I've been bag holding for months. And then, do you like my characterization of the Chia market? I'm not going to apologize for it today, guys. I'm fiery this morning. So, oh my, please let me sell my bags. And then we came all the way up to 222. And somebody out there, some genius was like, that's my high sign. I'm going to GTFO. And they dumped and dumped and dumped and dumped and dumped. So yeah, guys, this is a chart as old as blockchain. As old as blockchain. As soon as there was a rumor that anybody was willing to buy, well, how did they buy? because people were willing to sell. Next, news. To borrow PewDiePie's phrase. All right, moving from hard drives over to CPUs. Ray J's got to go back to work. Hey, appreciate you being here, man. Thanks for tuning in. CPUs, we got Epic Cache at the top of the list. Still just looking insanely bullish. I don't know how it's managed to do what it did, but if it can pull off that hat trick and be a third week at the top of the list, then maybe we're going to see it stick. It has tested support way down below its current price though for a while. Yeah. Yeah, Zotrack says, I agree, Seth. This is so cliche. You're not wrong, man. I'm a pretty cliche kind of guy. I do throw a lot of I've been accused of throwing out a lot of platitudes too, but here's the thing. History doesn't repeat, it rhymes, and so cliches come back, and sometimes, just sometimes, platitudes fit. So, oh well. Epic Cache is still doing great though, guys. It's topping this chart. Last 24 hours were down though. Still, this chart is in the money. CPU mining has kind of shown itself to be one of the most profitable forms of mining in our portfolio to date, other than FPGAs, right? So I think what I'm seeing is, from a bird's eye view over this market, what I'm seeing is we need flexible specialization, if that makes more sense. We need more flexibility than ASICs, and FPGAs fit the bill for high performance. And we need even more flexibility than GPUs, I guess. Yeah, even GPUs. So CPU mining has really come into its own again, this market, where I think last bull market, it was profitable, but man, not like it is today with a couple of these really standout projects. And Raptorium is really putting CPU mining back on the map. And then Epic Cache is sort of like a well-kept secret. I don't know that Epic Cache is actually what is pulling this chart, pulling this side of the portfolio up though, because I don't know how much of this could be attributed to CPU mining. Not sure if day over day, Epic Cache is even profitable at all over the cost of power. It could be that only Raptorium is. So it could be that we have Epic Cache in the wrong side of the portfolio. Just be aware of that. We might need to throw out a false positive here with Epic Cache in the CPU portfolio. Raptorium it's impressive. It's impressive, and I don't want anyone to lose sight of that, even though like Epic Cache looks like it's in the #1 spot, right? The team is amazing too. Market cap is really low. It would not be impossible for us to see this market cap 10x, right? We could see this in the same way that we see Flux at over $100 million market cap. We could see Raptorium in the future. There is a future in which it is an over $100 million market cap as well. Totally possible based on fundamentals and based on what the project has been able to build so far. So that's totally doable, right? Even if you're sort of a soldier of fortune within the mining space, if you decided like, okay, right now I'm going to mine and hold Raptorium until I think it's a really good exit point for me, and then I'm going to flip it into my savings, a crypto savings account, right? Like something that I think is a stronger fundamental project in terms of just a pure currency play or something else. You do you come up with your plans, but please don't dump. Please don't dump Raptorium. Don't, in this game of musical chairs, please don't go smash the radio. Don't turn the music off. So, Monero is still at the bottom of the list. We've got Monero still barely in profit. It's kind of not moving very much. Really, the top two coins there are what's interesting. ASIC mineable coins. And guys, thank you so much for, if you are lurking, being subscribed instead. Like, it's free. Why wouldn't you do it? So thanks for that. Appreciate you. But in our ASIC mining portfolio, guys, we got Go Mining tokens still at the top of the list. Let me ask you guys, would you like to see how to work with Go Mining token? The team has reached out to me and asked if I would do a tutorial for them. Would you like to see that? I'm going to ask you. Would that be okay? Let me know in the comment section. But Go Mining token tops the list. Bitcoin, though, when we're talking about something that's actually ASIC mineable, is really what's on top. Nervos Network, we have not put our entry into, but I am going to take the time here to put that in because the ASIC mining portfolio has been boring for a while. So we got to change that. Let's go ahead and check out the Nervos chart and quickly jump back in time to, I had to actually think about that. 5/26 is our starting date. Let's go back over to 5/27 as our end date. And there we go. We got 2 days there. Check out the 26th. Whoa, we had a massive pop right before the time. Oh my gosh. The same time that we're going to put this. This coin literally had a local top at the point that we're going to take the price here, guys. I'm so sorry. You see this, like at this spike right here on top? That's roughly when we're going to have to take the price for this coin. That's funny though. So it's 1 cent and 792,129. So let's do. Hey, not bad. 1,792,129. That's going to be our acquisition price. And let's jump back in time. You're seeing how I do this live. To add this to a CoinGecko portfolio, which is totally free for anybody to use. This is not a sponsored promotion of their service. I just use it on the show. Because it's useful, right? So I think, yeah, no, what we need to do is just be as true to the time of day that was. And bust open KCalc. Hey there, KCalc. So I'm still using Garuda Linux. I'm having a bit of a trouble with my audio subsystem. Apparently there's a problem with the latest, I think it's the latest Linux kernel and the ALSA subsystem. Right, so the sound system for Linux. Like the basic, the most basic sound system for Linux. I'm really struggling, guys. If any of you is a Linux expert or knows ALSA very, very well, I would so appreciate some help. Because my main workstation, like, I wound up having to plug in USB audio sources multiple times and then try to get it to switch. And I haven't been able to change anything in my grub settings or whatever. It's a very, very low-level problem. And I'm not a Linux systems admin. So I can't spend like 3 days solving this problem. If you know how, I would really appreciate the help. But let's get $1,000 and divide it by 0.01. 792,129, and it is, yeah, that's a lot of coins. Yes, all right. Single click is a paste, and we'll submit that. So we've got the correct timing for that. Looks like, yep, as expected, it brings that way up in the stacked ranking, but still below Bitcoin. So it looks like, guys, ASIC mineable coins, not as impressive as we would hope, but they are steady, right? It's steady mining income. Check out our FPGA mining portfolio. And I apologize, guys, as far as like talking about personal problems, like my workstation having a bit of an issue with the audio system. I switched to Linux and I really want to be able to stick with it. I'd rather not be forced to go back to say Windows on a workstation, because I'm reading reports that even the latest version of Fedora, which is very stable, is also having audio problems. I can't afford that as somebody who publishes on a regular basis. So, and I really don't want to go with a Mac. I never want to have to go with a Mac. Like, don't force me to do that. Anyway, FPGAs up over the last 24 hours and since the portfolio started, and it's up even higher than our about as high as our CPU mining portfolio. Cadena is my hero today. It's just absolutely my hero. Check out those profits on Cadena, guys. It's pretty amazing. Barry Merritt says Mac OS. Oh, man, you know, that's just it. I've got a couple brothers who are developers. They've been saying the same thing. The M1 chip looks really, really good, but I hate the idea of my main computer having an SoC built into it with a, black box drivers and the ability to phone home without my permission. Like, I just don't like the way the world is being designed for espionage, right? Like everything, it's not just planned obsolescence. Everything is planned spyware, all of it, from the most fundamental level. Whatever. Either that or I'll get like a Samsung DeX device. Maybe I'll just use that as my main machine and I'll try to just make it work. Maybe I can do that. Maybe I can, or get something that'll just run like mobile Linux. That's a more stable, older Linux kernel. Do that. Yeah, I know, Barry. I know you're dropping facts, brother. I know it's true. The M1 chip is just destroying everything. The M1 Max, on paper at least, definitely destroys everything, and it's tempting. I'm just going to tell you, brother, it is tempting. I wish that they made a full form factor device. I wish that there could be PCI Express support on a full form factor device with one of these ARM chips. I think that the next generation Intel chips with the big little design It's going to change the game too. So maybe it's worth just holding out for that. And then there's going to be, which it's not ARM, right? It's just x86. But on Linux, big little Intel design with Linux is going to shred. It's going to destroy everything. Yeah, I hate alpha buying stuff from macOS to find that 18 months later that something else in the open source space comes along to just melt everything that Mac has done or that Apple has done, which they typically just like leverage open source libraries anyway. So yeah, and then repackage it as though they innovated something. But Cadena is our hero here, guys. Pretty amazing there. Nimic is up in profit as well. Handshake is rising in profit. Good on you guys, Handshake team. You built something that clearly the market is saying that they want. I've been saying that I want this to be more accessible. Everybody who has to buy their domain names from Ethereum by, with 70, 100, and $150 fees, that's crazy. I want to just go buy a domain name from something like Namecheap and then be able to transfer those credentials to blockchain. So yeah. Oh, Pocket Change, you're so generous. Thank you so much. Pocket Change drops a super chat in and says, for teaching us all good info. Drops in a $19.99 super chat. Pocket, you're a peach. Pocket Peach. That's who you are. Sorry, Peach Change. This is just weird, guys. I can't do this. This is so weird. My wife's gonna walk in and be like, "Who's Pocket?" I'm gonna be like, Jump Change's wife," and she's gonna be like, "Yeah, that's worse." Anyway, Jump. I promise I'm not flirting with your wife. Not really, not in real life. So, guys, but thank you for that super chat. Much appreciated. And guys, this is my pleasure. Like, I got a background in education, and then working for big tech, I did training and education. This is my jam. That moment when another human captures understanding, the light goes on, I live for it. So I would do this for free. I absolutely would. This is my genuine pleasure, my genuine passion. So. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's funny. So, yeah, Mrs. Mind Your Biz, right? Yeah, Mrs. Biz. Yeah, I expect to see maybe more of her in the future. We have talked about doing some joint content at some point, but yeah, without doxing my wife or my kids, she might want to be hands only also. But Stefan is in the chat, says, so early to, yeah, we're going to start going earlier, increasingly earlier, so our friends across the pond can catch it, guys. Nervos Network, we already got that added to the list. FPGAs, though, bottom line is they are profitable. If you have been mining on FPGAs, you're probably in pretty good shape. Let's move from FPGAs into our smart contracts. Here, we looked at TVL for these, and I think that we're seeing an inverse relationship here between TVL and coin value. What does that mean? We talked about on a previous episode how we can look at market cap, and if market cap is very, very low, it is an indicator that there may be overhead for that coin to gain more value. It isn't always, right? It's not always an indicator, but it is one data point that can help us spot gems that have room to grow up, right? If they don't have overhead, if they're oversold or if it's already very saturated, then you might not see that same level of growth. Well, here, what we're seeing is Phantom, even though Solana has more total value locked, and even though Terra has more total value locked than Phantom surged ahead because it had a lower market cap, so it's still potentially got more growth ahead of it. Plus, there's unit bias, right? Like when we go to the crypto markets, it's a very, very common thing, just like was said before. Zotrak also, who said, like, classic charting. It's very cliche in the crypto space, but people have a unit bias, and especially like plebs, not you guys. You guys are sharp, right? But plebs who come into this space who are like, well, I want to be able to buy some cryptos, so I'm going to look for something cheap because then I can own a lot of them, right? They tend to look over Bitcoin because it's over $60,000 right now, and they think, well, I can't buy one, so why would I buy any? They don't really think about the idea of fractional ownership of coins, which is one of the best parts about cryptocurrency. You don't have to own one of anything. But still, we get that idea of like, well, I wouldn't buy like, whatever, one lens to my glasses. I need the full thing. I want a whole unit. It doesn't apply to crypto, but we think that way anyway. So when we look at unit bias, being able to own one of something or multiples of something, right? Like we've got 281. Hey, Martin is in the chat and asks about Shiba Inu, and he says that he thinks the coin will die soon. We chatted a bit about that early on and fundamentals. Shiba Inu is already down 25% this week, so if you jump back in the video, you'll see. Yeah, I think you're on track. Die, those are harsh words, but suffer, probably. Yeah, unfortunately, coins like Shiba Inu, they don't die all at once. They just bleed for a long time and cringe in the corner, twitch in the corner. So it might be going that way. We'll see. So let's see. But yeah, guys. Yeah. Unit bias is a real thing. So you see people looking at Terra like, well, $50 is, that's to talk about consumer behavior and psychology. That's the beginning of the impulse buy range for the median wage earner in the United States or in the developed world. Somebody looks at a $50 purchase and they think, oh yeah, cool. I can buy that. I couldn't buy a lot of those, like with what I have for like spending money, but I could buy that. No problem. Like easy. Or like I could buy 10 of those. Sure. I can buy 10 of those. I can own 10 of those. And I feel good about that. So buying 10 Terra feels like you own a lot of something versus, in Solana, you can only buy 2 of those for that same budget. So people do get that unit bias in their heads and it messes with them big time. With Phantom, right? That same budget of $500 gives you a lot more, right? Same with Avalanche. Well, not so much versus Terra now, but there's a bit of a correlation there, right? Market caps, coin prices, total value locked. It's all part of kind of a matrix that helps guide people's decisions. Cosmos, I still think is undervalued. I think you ignore it at your peril. Wax also, it's showing that it's got some strength, but there's a lot of NFTs on Wax, and there are huge partnerships on Wax, which indicates the total value locked. Like you have a number for total value locked based on the NFTs that are minted on Wax. So be aware of that. Bottom of this list, though, guys, the only coins that are not in profit are ZIL through Internet Computer. And we are going to add Harmony 1 during our live stream here as well, because we just can't ignore it either. It's been on the list for too many days. We got to jump back into the charts to see that time. 5:26. Alrighty, come on, show me. And looks like, again, not a local top for this one. Oh, there we go. That's a little better. 11 cents. Oobs. 11 oobs. Cool. Got it. It's a mnemonic, guys. Don't make fun. 11 oobs. A lot of oobs. All right. Oh, shoot. Glad I don't have anything like sensitive going. That'd be weird, wouldn't it? I have like personal finance up. You see me task switching. And divide by, oops. Not oops, oobs. By 11 oobs. Copy and paste. Man, this one's way easier to work with. I like KCalc. It's a good calculator. I like it. May 26th. And this time we are at about, come on, about 5:30 p.m. And fully, we have an entry with $1,000 into Harmony. It is now on our leaderboard. It's just below Wax. There you go. Just below Wax at about 167% gains. Not bad. So ahead of Cosmos, but below Wax. Still in our top 10, but not on the leaderboard. Awesome, guys. Thanks for suggesting that coin. It looks great in that lineup. Kusama, as mentioned before, is the test net for Polkadot. So Polkadot is valued higher than Kusama because most people expect that Polkadot will eventually be where all the action's taking place. That said, Kusama is still a $3 billion, almost $4 billion market cap, and the per coin value is way high. So people who bought Kusama ultra cheap are laughing all the way to the bank right now, right? Like at over $400 per coin, if they got it for pennies or for a couple bucks, they're very happy with that purchase. If they didn't, however, it's like, you know, whatever. 6 to 1, half a dozen the other. The percentage gains are the same. Polkadot, though, I do believe, yeah, in the prognosis for it going maybe higher, 4 to 5 times above what it is right now. I don't know if I see a $250 billion market cap for Polkadot unless they've got more total value locked right away, which they might be able to transfer from Kusama, but there may be other projects that are kind of waiting right now to launch natively on Polkadot first, not on the test net. So the commitments there, the parachain auctions, if you know about Polkadot, then you know. If not, go see my friend Cryptos Chain's channel. He, in my opinion, he's my resident go-to Polkadot expert. Sorry, Alex, if you're watching. I need to have you on the channel. But Alex Hatum. But yeah, there's some great content out there just for Polkadot. I don't pretend to know enough about it. But from my limited perspective, I'm struggling to see how that project goes to a $250 billion market cap or above. We'll see, though. Shiba Inu is still on the leaderboard for our last junk drawer side of the portfolio. And I kind of wish I could just edit this. Man, let's see. Rename portfolio. Let's do this live. Junk drawer. Done. Okay, that's a better fit, right? I like it. Zotrack says, love the new schedule personally. Hey, appreciate that. Thank you. This is better for me, better for my family. I've got a sick one home from school today, but even still, homeboy's he's just chilling, right? He's just like trying to cover up, getting, you know, fluids, drinking some herbal teas and chicken soup. So, or mostly bone broth. Real talk, bone broth. Shiba Inu is still on the top of this list, though, and it's had a rough few days. Thank you, Pocket. Definitely appreciate that. Yep, he's a tough one. Well, gosh. For him, when he was first learning to walk and like kind of at that toddler phase, I remember he'd like, whatever, bump into stuff. And instead of like, when his mom was around, it was sort of like, oh no, are you okay? And I would just like, if it was just me, anytime he got up after like hitting himself or falling down, I would just go, yay! Like victory pose, arms in the air. And he would get up and go, yay! And like smile. Kid's got such a baller attitude. He's like a tank now. He's awesome. So just saying, guys, raise up a child in the way they should go. But Shiba Inu is still top of our list here. Hex is, you know, it's supposed to be this pumpamental coin. And this is not me saying anything against it. It's also not me endorsing it, but just saying it's been crawling sideways for a while. Shiba Inu is, it's about half of what I said that the maximum target could be, roughly, almost half. And I'm still going to say that, guys. If there is somehow a resurgence of popularity in Shiba Inu, then fine. I think we're seeing dead cat bounces here. I think that what was mentioned in the comment section may be true. We may be seeing the end of Shiba Inu as we know it. It could definitely be sick right now, we'll say. Maybe not dying, but it could be sick. I really do think that's true. But the rest of our portfolio here, guys, we had so many other new coins that I did not make any new additions. And I just don't want to drag you through putting $1,000 into all of these live. So I need to make some time to do that later on. But we've got plenty of other meme coins. Akita Inu, Kishu Inu, Luffy, Refinance, UFO Gaming. Some of them are not meme tokens. And some of them, like you can see, the market cap is just not that impressive. But Refinance and UFO Gaming and Zio Network, as well as Dojilon Mars, like we've got these coins with hundreds of millions of dollars of market cap valuation. So those are impressive. Shiba Inu has got our attention right now because it's in the tens of billions of dollars, but I don't know how much longer that can last either when you got all these other meme coins that are in the, you know, hundreds of millions. That said, you got a lot of very stubborn young people who have bought in, who are not willing to see their coins just dump into oblivion. We'll see what that means in the long term for Shiba Inu, but I'm not holding my breath. I'll just put it that way. As far as the coins that actually have a position, QuickSwap is up. Dragon's Quick is up. they've had some recent news I'm aware of that that has definitely pumped things there, including a partnership with Doge Elon Mars. So that's listed on QuickSwap with over $1 million of liquidity rewards between, or I think $1 million of liquidity rewards. I think it's matched between those two. Uniswap also is has got a similar sort of like pump and then peak valley there. So a little double top the last 3 days or so. Interesting to see. Looks like a lot of the dexes had that. Could be a strong correlation with some other projects. Ampleforth is doing its thing, just like looking weird. Right? It looks like one of those lawnmowers. Just resets itself. Got sort of got that rebase functionality built in. So that's kind of weird looking, but that's normal for Ampleforth. So yeah, interesting chart there. The junk drawer needs some cleanup, guys. I apologize for that. Harmony 1 is in. So many other coins are in, but that's all I can do for the portfolio for today. Let me answer any questions that we have in the live chat. Guys, if you have any other questions for me, this might be my last live stream for the weekend. And I apologize. I talked about going live more frequently, but it's probably going to be a little more prepared content over this weekend because of work-related items and just the schedule. And then, yeah, adding to that the fact that we got a sick one at home today. So let me know what questions you have for me before we call it a day. And I will see how many questions I can get to. Well, you asked about Ravencoin, you asked about Ethereum Classic, you asked about Flux, you asked about, I think, Firo as well. And I didn't mention Firo. Let me talk about Firo and my thoughts on Firo. I think that Firo is another one of those projects that may be a little bit undervalued, potentially. I've felt that way for a while. So Firo is here on our GPU mining chart. Current market cap is $100 million. But here's what's interesting about Firo. Right, like Firo is primarily a proof of work project, and it runs a masternode network, but it does not run on enhanced service nodes. It doesn't offer any kind of value up on top of the specific, doesn't offer any other specific value on top of there being a masternode network. And so when it was still had its previous branding of Zcoin, it was just not, it was not moving up, I think, at the pace that they hoped that it would. It's strictly a masternode play, not an enhanced service node play. That said, what it does that other coins that are, say, like a fork of Zcash or other coins that are a fork of Bitcoin, what they don't do that Firo does is it has a novel privacy algorithm. It has novel cryptographic privacy. What do I mean? I'm using like dumb words to say something that's actually really simple. It's a privacy coin that is unique. It doesn't use what Zcash uses, and it doesn't use what Monero uses to achieve privacy. They made their own cryptographic privacy, custom just for Firo. So it is a pretty unique project in that way. So I think that Firo, it's got a very interesting and probably healthy future ahead of it. But I think that the current masternode system that it runs, it might be, like it's a good way to help lock in value, I guess. But they could probably do the same by offering some kind of staking rewards, right? Like the masternode system, as I understand it, I'm not sure if that's where the actual consensus comes from. The consensus for the blockchain might still primarily run from proof of work. That's been the case for several other projects that have both proof of work and masternodes attached to them. So yeah. Barry Merritt says, I'm interested in any coin that can be mined profitably on LHR GPUs. And Anonymous Miners in the chat says, I love your face. Oh, hello there. Good to see you in the chat, Anonymous Miner. Thank you for that. Needed a good chuckle. Anything that, got to laugh to keep from crying these days. The world is a crazy, crazy place sometimes. But guys, Team Red, we see Firo in a lot of the lineup there. We talked about this before, but Firo is here, right? It is here. It's here to stay. It's going to stay proof of work. That's why they changed to the ProgPow, a variant of the ProgPow algorithm. So as far as it being a coin that you can mine, it's a good privacy coin that you can mine on GPUs. There are others, but Firo is clearly profitable on Team Red cards right now. Ryo currency, it's also profitable, but let's take a look at the overall market cap. We're looking at just over $2 million total, and let's be very, very real. That's not high enough. Like, just pretend like you own the full 100% market cap of some of these coins. and ask yourself, would that be high enough for me to feel comfortable retiring on, because I'd only have to spend a little bit of it to cover my expenses, right? I think that's probably a good way, like one simple heuristic, right? Rule of thumb, to look at a market cap and decide, could I move the market by, like if I owned all of it, could I move the market easily by just selling what I needed from these coins to pay for my expenses, my living expenses over time? Right? Like, could this be a good enough retirement account for you? And I don't think that something like Ryo currency is quite enough. Like if you had to like stop working today and you had to take just this amount and try to whatever, feed a family of 5, right? Or if you had to like, or if you had to just provide for yourself in a major city, right? Living in like Los Angeles, LA, Miami, Minneapolis, right? To a lesser extent, St. Louis, or Columbus, any of these places, or Portland, etc., like any of these major cities, like the big cities in your state, trying to live there with only this in your bank account, like you'd have to get creative, right? So I think that's one way to look at that. Martin says, what to mine still does not have Firo listed. Why is that? Martin, we just looked that up. It's right here. It's on what to mine. But what they didn't have initially was Firo POW, the most recent algorithm, and that just changed. So right before I went live, I'll show you guys on the GPU mining tab. See, there's Firo POW. It's not selected yet because it still has my previous selections memorized. And so this is brand new. You asked the right question at the right time, sir. So it's brand new. And we can see, if we put in any kind of a card, we can see the Firo POW numbers. And it, as expected, it's pretty much within range of Ka POW and Prog POW. Right? Usually, if you have any kind of a derivative of Prog POW, it's pretty close to the numbers of other Prog POW variants. So on that note, 3090. Yeah, hey, no worries, Martin. You got to ask, man. If you don't see what you need to see, you got to ask. You got to try to find the info you're looking for. But yeah, it's in profit. It's in the money on a lot of these coins. So yeah, I think that Firo, guys, I think that there is a very real possibility of it popping up in value at some point in the future. That said, there was a massive rumor that, that made it more popular. It had a big run up, and then it kind of like chilled out, right? Had that double top, sort of mid bull run, had its own little double top. So it's down in our portfolio, unfortunately, right? Like there's May 26th. No, that kind of matches the Bitcoin bull run. No, there's May 26th. So we're kind of barely finding equilibrium from where it was before. But Firo, I think, is probably an underrated project, and it makes me really sad. 93% down from its all-time high. It's just sad. Martin says, does Firo use less power than Raven? It looks like it does, but it also looks like it has less profit for the power, right? So you've got to balance both of those things. It looks like it's got a little less profit, like net profit for the power consumed. So, and because it's a variant of Prog POW, I imagine that you're going to look at very similar thermals on your GPUs by running either Ravencoin or Firo. Williams Washing says, Dave, are you in here? Good question. Got a lot of great contributors here. Barry Merritt says Firo on a 3080 Ti. That's the question. All right, cool. We'll take a look at it. Jump out of the way here. And you asked about LHR before, but yeah, there is no distinction here on what to mine between the typically listed 3080 Ti and 3080. Hey, Osiris Twits is in the chat. Good to see you, brother. Thanks for being here. Been a little bit of time since I've seen you in the live comments. Definitely appreciate that. Guys, Osiris Twits is he's an OG in this space. And just respect the heck out of the work that he's done to transform himself into an amazing crypto guy, like living that life on crypto alone. So as I understand it, right, like professional trader now. But it looks like for the 3080 Ti, oh my gosh, Firo is not registering because it doesn't look like it's got a proper listing for that. But if we were to just go on a limb here and say that it's a little bit below the Prog POW numbers, which may be accurate, we don't know. Right? We just don't know. So let's just like extrapolate a little bit, say it's 38. And let's bring its power consumption down to 250 watts. Okay. I'm taking liberties here, guys. Just bear with me. Let's pretend like that's close, right? We're throwing horseshoes here. Firo, yeah, looks like it might be below $4 of daily profit, but if you got Raven Coin at over $5, it might be closer than I think. Because the variant of ProgPow may more closely match CawPow than ProgPow for FiroPow. I don't know. I don't have benchmarks. So you guys are going to have to do your own benchmarks there, unfortunately. And hey, this is so cool. Zotrak outs himself as a contributor to Firo development. Says contributes to Firo development monthly through Open Source Collective. Okay, that's really cool. Barry says the 3080 Ti uses 320 watts. That may be true at peak, but it looks like optimized numbers on what to mine indicate that 280 is kind of the highest that even ProgPow and CawPow use. So I think if you're going balls to the wall with power utilization to get the highest possible hash rate on ProgPow, I could see that. I could see 320 for sure. But for whatever reason, what to mine doesn't list that. So yeah, you're going to have to run your own numbers. I'm sorry, your own benchmarks here. And then add your own benchmarks as they become available to you once you've benchmarked FiroPow, and then create, your own custom entry for that GPU. What to mine is great that way, right? Hats off to these guys. They made it a very, very usable platform. Guys, we are going on 2 hours, and I don't want to abuse your morning. I hope that's been helpful. Thank you for asking great questions. Thanks for being literally the best community in all of crypto YouTube. You know what I'm talking about, right? We don't suffer fools. We don't suffer shills here. We ask good questions. We answer great questions. We're thoughtful and we're kind and uplifting to each other. But we do try to mold each other into worthy thinking people, right? Who can contribute to the real state of development and not just, and not just the meme culture that will die off when cryptocurrency corrects. So Anonymous Miner says, define balls to the wall power consumption. ProgPow helps with that. I'll just put it that way. Benchmark ProgPow. Look for the best overclock and undervolt numbers for ProgPow. You'll find out the fun way, what balls to the wall power consumption really is, and whether or not you start a house fire or an electrical fire in your house. Guys, appreciate you being here all the way to the end of the video. Be sure to smash that subscribe button. Click the bell icon so you know when we're live. You do not want to miss the content that we're coming out with here, because the breakout sessions for Gem Hunter content, I promise you, they feed into what we're talking about for proof of work. If you've got coins that are waiting in the wings for trading on decentralized exchanges, a lot of our Gem Hunter content will speak to your desire for higher risk stuff if you want to go there. Always the disclaimer, guys, of it not being financial advice and me not being a financial advisor. That's just the reality. But you got to make hay while the sun shines. And right now, it is Gem Hunter season. Straight up. Even for us miners, we need to look for stuff that may not be a safe bet, but might be an awesome bet, if you know what I mean. So expect to see more of that in the coming days. Love that you guys were here to be supportive on a Friday. I think we're going to be able to do this Monday, Wednesday, Fridays in the mornings. So appreciate you being subscribed, clicking the thumbs up, sharing the video. It helps so much when you click all those buttons. And of course, if you want to see any of the links that we talked about in today's show, they're always in the description. I provide those so that you, a thinking, rational adult, can go do your own research. I love your face. Remember to stay private and mind your biz. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. Be sure to check out mineyourbiz, where you can sign up for our email newsletter, where we're still ramping up content, but you will occasionally receive specials for flash sales and all kinds of other deals that we have going on the site. You can also check out our services page, where we offer consulting to projects that need it. You can pick up the Freedom Phone, which respects your privacy. You can pay for it in crypto and have it shipped to you anonymously, as well as getting merchandise that also is paid for with crypto. That's right, we practice what we preach, including, well, a Flux swag page. That's right. It's a dedicated page just for the team over at Flux Network, because we love them that much. Thanks for watching to the end. Thanks for being subscribed. You know I love your face. Be sure to stay private and mind your biz.